Welcome. Now, this is the Project Management for Information Security module, and this is part 2. And in this module, we're going to talk about the structure, how we're going to structure the project for successful security transformation projects. Now, what really do we mean when we're talking about structure of the project? So structure refers to the hierarchy and organization of teams, their interaction, along with frequency, reporting, and problem resolution mechanisms. So it's actually the entire orchestration, and that's what we mean by structure, because when we're referring to hierarchy, there are team leaders, and then there are resources who are reporting to the team leaders, then there are managers, and then there's a steering committee, and there's a board, and there are various higher and higher levels of hierarchy. And we have to involve the right people at the right time and at the right place so that we can not only implement the project, but also identify, resolve problems, and get help from the higher management when necessary. So the structure really means the mechanism with which we are going to run the project and utilize the resources and report various aspects of the project, get help, and make sure that the entire project is being run successfully. So let's take an example. This is a typical project structure that we use in Delta Tech for the security transformation projects. And it has 3 layers, as you can see. There is the Information Security Management Committee, which is called the ISMC, and this is the entire engine, and it meets on a weekly basis. And if you recall, we have already talked about the Information Security Management Committee. It's a hybrid team structure consisting of 1 network resource from the customer organization, 1 application database resource from the customer organization, 1 systems resource from the customer organization, 1 information security team member from the customer organization, and then 1 or 2 consultants from a company like Delta Tech. And they form a hybrid team and become the champions of security. And together we call this team the Information Security Management Committee. They meet on a weekly basis and run the entire program. And then the outputs for this activity are reported to the Information Security Steering Committee, which is general managers or heads of various divisions of IT, and they meet on a monthly basis. And then progress is reported on a quarterly basis or every 3 months to the board or to senior management, depending on the structure of the organization. And the whole idea of the structure is to have accountability in the project, to build up accountability, which means that everybody should be responsible for what they're supposed to be doing, should be clear about what they're doing, and then there is enough people involved so that they can hold each other accountable. And then there is visibility and participation, because we're trying to involve as many relevant people in this project so that they can all help us and guide us and assist us in making sure that we don't miss anything or don't do anything wrong, and the project is implemented successfully. Now, the team structure is very important, and for the Information Security Management Committee, this is a diagrammatic view of what it looks like. So as you can see on the top, there's the information security head or a team lead. And team lead, we're talking about somebody with 7 to 10 years work experience, not the most senior person, not the most junior person. And then there's a networks team lead. And again, 7 to 10 years work experience. And typically the team leads have 2 or 3 people reporting to them so that they can help the team lead. And then we have a manager for applications and database, and then a manager systems. So these are 4 resources who have to combine together and come into the Information Security Management Committee, which is a matrix team structure. And then if you have the privilege of having a good consultant like Delta Tech with you, you will have 1 or 2 principal consultants who will come and help you implement the project. So this entire team forms the Information Security Management Committee that you see on the screen. And on the right side on the top, it shows you that there are also some information security resources who are going to help in research and support work. Whatever work the Information Security Management Committee in the center is doing, the information security team on the upper right is going to help them and support them, because there are so many activities going on. And the entire goal here is to create cooperation, and there's a lot of ways of doing that. And one of the ways is to create an annual appraisal based on the success of the information security transformation in 12 months. All of these team members, their 1-year appraisal should be linked 25 to 30% on this project. And that is a sign-off we get from the CIO or from the upper management. Now, the project sequence is also very important. When we talk about structure, it's also important how you sequence the activities. So the first activity is that you establish tracks, because there's so much work to do and you really have to break it down into chunks. So we establish tracks. For example, the data center and the workstations are separate tracks, and then the mobile security is a separate track, and the enterprise ERP is a separate track. And for each track, then you establish a minimum security baseline, or MSB. And that really means what's the most important thing we need to do first as a priority in order to address the security. And then when you identify that, you need to do a pilot or a test. In a test environment, you need to implement the security hardening controls, and that's called the pilot. And then you implement, once the pilot is done, you've done the testing, you implement those controls that you've successfully implemented in the pilot as a test run. You implement them across IT by breaking down into various phases. And then it's continuous improvement which is going on. Now, this is a view of the project tracks. So typically we have 7 or 8 tracks. The first one is IT infrastructure, which includes all the data center, the network devices, Wi-Fi access points, all the servers in the data center. Then track 2 could consist of ISMS documentation and processes, because in the transformation project, we culminate or end the project. The last 20% of the project is consisting of documentation, a thin layer of documentation to make sure that we've completed the requirements of ISMS 27001, Information Security Management System. And then track 3 would be the software applications, like the enterprise ERP, the SAP ERP, or the Oracle ERP, or any ERP, which is really the core software. If it's a hospital, it would be the hospital management system, HMS. And then track 4 would be other applications which the organization has developed, for example, internally with ASP.NET or PHP. And then you have desktops and browsers as track 5, and track 6, vulnerability management, and then track 7, mobile security. So the entire IT assets of the organization are divided into tracks for better tracking, better project management, and better visibility and better reporting. So an effective project manager, using all the mechanisms that we've just showed in terms of structure, the frequency of reporting, who do you report to, who's in the team. It's very important to select the right team members. Who's in the team? What frequency is the meeting of that particular layer in the team, the ISMC or the steering committee or the board? How is it going to be reported, which we'll talk about in a future module? And how is that entire project orchestrated? How are the tasks, resources, activities all orchestrated? An effective project manager has a thorough understanding of what needs to be achieved and is able to orchestrate the entire resources, teams, hierarchy, reporting, activities in order to achieve a successful project outcome. And that's where the experience of the project manager is very essential. The domain knowledge and the experience is very essential for a successful project manager. And structure, of course, needs to be utilized by the project manager for a successful project outcome. That's all for this module. Thank you.